Imagine this. One day, everything is fine. You're laughing, texting, making plans. Then suddenly, silence. No call. No text. No explanation. Just gone. Welcome to the world of ghosting, where the person you thought cared disappears without a trace. Ghosting is when someone cuts off all communication with you without warning or closure. One minute they're there, the next, it's like they never existed. It's like being erased from someone's life, without a goodbye. A breakup hurts, there's no denying that. It can feel like your chest has been cracked open. The tears come in waves. The pain is raw, but at least there are words. At least there's a moment, however hard, when someone looks you in the eyes or sends a message and says, "This isn't working. I'm sorry. I need to move on." That hurts, but it makes sense. You were there. They were there. There was closure. A door was closed, painfully but intentionally. And with that closure, you can begin to grieve, to heal, to understand. But ghosting is different. Ghosting offers nothing. No words. No warning. No reason. Just silence. And silence isn't quiet, it's deafening. It's the loudest kind of abandonment. It leaves you not with a heartbreak to process, but with a haunting you can't escape. You don't know what happened. Your last conversation felt normal. You made plans. You shared laughs. You may have said goodnight, thinking there'd be a good morning. But there wasn't. There never was again. And now you're left to fill in the blanks with your own thoughts, and that's the most dangerous part. Your mind spirals. It replays every moment like a movie on loop, every message, every tone of voice, every emoji. You start dissecting your words, your actions, your behavior, looking for what you did wrong. And when there's no answer, your brain starts making up its own, and they're rarely kind. Was it me? Was I too much? Was I not enough? Was I boring? Too clingy? Too distant? Too honest? Too emotional? You begin to think you were the problem. You internalize their silence as a verdict, that you weren't worthy of an explanation, that your feelings didn't matter, that you were disposable. That's what ghosting does. It erodes your self-worth from the inside out. And the worst part, you don't get to defend yourself. You don't get closure or even an argument. You're not given the chance to understand or grow. You're simply dismissed, like a page torn out of a book. The story continues for them, and you're stuck in a chapter that never got an ending. With a breakup, at least you know where you stand. With ghosting, you're left standing on a foundation that suddenly disappeared. It makes you question reality. Was anything we shared real? Did it matter? Was it all in my head? That psychological torment, the uncertainty, the guessing, the unresolved grief, is what makes ghosting so uniquely painful. Because at its core, ghosting isn't just rejection. It's abandonment without explanation. And sometimes that's the kind of pain that lingers the longest. And just when you think you've started to heal, when your chest doesn't feel so heavy, when the mornings start to feel a little lighter, you see it. They viewed your story. No text, no call, just a silent glimpse from the shadows. You pause. For a second, your heart skips a beat. Are they thinking of you? Are they about to say something? Are they regretting it? But the message never comes. It's like emotional purgatory. They're not gone, but they're not here either. They've become this digital ghost, present enough to haunt you, absent enough to hurt you. You see their name under your followers, their likes on a random photo. Sometimes they react to your story, drop a fire emoji, and still say nothing. It messes with your head, because healing requires distance, closure, a clean break. But how do you heal when the person who shattered you keeps peeking in through the digital window of your life? You start questioning again. Was it all a game? Why are they watching me if they don't care? Should I block them? Will that make me look weak or finally strong? And that's the thing about ghosting in the social media age. It doesn't end with the silence. It lingers in likes, in views, in that tiny green dot next to their name that says they're online and still not choosing you. You're not just healing from their absence. You're healing from their invisible presence. From being haunted by someone still alive, someone who left you, but still won't let go entirely. A breakup, no matter how painful, gives you something ghosting never will: dignity. A breakup, even in its rawest and most heart-wrenching form, is still an act of emotional acknowledgement. It's a moment, however agonizing, when one person looks the other in the eye and says, "This mattered. You mattered. But I need to go." It's not just the words. It's the fact that you were seen. Your time, your emotions, your energy were recognized. It's someone saying, "I value you enough to tell you the truth, even if it hurts." That truth, no matter how difficult, gives you something incredibly rare in a world where emotional shortcuts are common: dignity. Dignity is the right to feel human, to be treated not like an inconvenience, but like someone whose emotions deserve respect, whose story deserves an ending, and whose presence meant something. Ghosting doesn't give you that. It denies you humanity. Ghosting is not just silence, it's emotional erasure. Is someone looking at all the shared moments, all the laughter, all the vulnerability, and deciding none of it is worth explaining? None of it is worth confronting. None of it is worth ending properly. Ghosting doesn't just end a relationship, it leaves it unfinished, like a book with the last chapter torn out. And worse, it forces you to be the one holding the pen, trying to write an ending that will never feel complete. It leaves you staring at your phone in confusion, spiraling into self-doubt. You ask, did I do something wrong? Was it all fake? Am I so easy to discard? That silence, cold, sharp, unrelenting, makes you feel like you never mattered. That you were just a moment, a distraction, a temporary filler in someone else's story. And that kind of abandonment cuts deeper than honesty ever could. Breakups are hard, but they offer closure. Ghosting is easy, but it leaves scars. When someone breaks up with you, they give you the gift of clarity. You may not agree with their reasons, you may not like what they say, but at least you know where you stand. You can process it. You can cry about it. You can scream into your pillow and talk to your friends and begin, slowly, to let go. You can heal, because healing begins where truth is told. But ghosting? Ghosting suspends you in emotional purgatory. You're not together, but you're not apart either. You're waiting for a message that never comes. You're left to pick up invisible pieces of something that shattered without a sound. And because there was no conversation, your brain keeps trying to have one internally. That's where the torment lives, in the invisible dialogue between you and someone who's already moved on. Respect versus avoidance. At its core, a breakup, even a painful one, is a form of respect. It says, you deserve to know. You deserve closure. You are worth a difficult conversation. Ghosting, on the other hand, is avoidance dressed as indifference. It's not about sparing your feelings. It's about sparing themselves discomfort. It's emotional cowardice. And sadly, it's become normalized. The final blow, your value isn't in their goodbye, it's in your recovery. The painful truth is, ghosting says more about them than it ever does about you. It reveals their emotional limitations, their inability to confront, to care deeply, to deal with the complexity of real, human connection. Their ghosting does not mean you're unworthy of love, it means they were incapable of giving it in the first place. Your value doesn't disappear with their silence. It shines even louder in your resilience, in your ability to stand up, dust off the confusion, and say, even if you couldn't say goodbye, I can say goodbye to the version of myself that kept waiting for you. And that is dignity. So why do people ghost? Because it's easy. Because they're afraid of confrontation. Because they lack the courage to be honest. But in avoiding a 10-minute awkward conversation, they leave behind weeks or months of emotional damage. You may never get closure from them, but you can give it to yourself. You can choose healing, growth, and peace over questions that may never be answered. Ghosting hurts because it makes you question your worth in silence. But remember this, silence says more about them than it ever will about you. You deserved words. You deserved respect. You deserve closure. Their absence doesn't define your story, your resilience does.